You've come this far to find more than sleep. You've come seeking peace. In this moment, it doesn't matter what happened during the day. It doesn't matter if it was an easy day or a complicated one, full of laughter or of challenges. Now, in this instant, the outside world can remain outside. This is your refuge. This is your nightly sanctuary, and look around you. Or better yet, feel. Sense the soft light that envelops the space, maybe the gentle glow of a lamp or the dimness that embraces every corner. Listen to the silence, the kind of silence that isn't empty, but a mantle that wraps all sounds and soothes them. Notice the temperature, pleasant and embracing, as if the very air wanted to care for you. Feel how your breathing begins, little by little, to slow down, to deepen, as if your body recognized that the time has come to surrender to rest. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, writing his meditations at the end of an exhausting day. In the midst of immense responsibilities, of decisions that affected thousands of lives, he found in the night a space for himself. He took up his pen and, under the soft light of an oil lamp, wrote not for others but for his own soul. He reflected on virtue, on time, on what was within his control and what was not. The night was his silent teacher, his most honest mirror. That same opportunity now lies before you. The night is not merely the absence of light. It is a sacred space where the mind can look inward without distractions. Here there are no pending tasks, no clocks hurrying you, no voices demanding your attention, only you, breathing, sensing, being. The purpose of this session is simple yet profound: to sleep not as an act of escape, but as a conscious and virtuous act. To sleep as a Stoic would, recognizing that this rest is a tool to restore your mind and your body so that tomorrow you wake stronger, steadier, more yourself. This sleep will be an act of care for yourself, an act that honors your nature. Now, before we continue, I want to invite you to a brief visualization. Imagine you are lying beside a motionless lake. The sky above you is blanketed with stars, so many they seem infinite. There is no wind, there is no haste, only the calm water reflecting the entire universe, and you becoming part of that perfect silence. Feel the gentle coolness of the night air on your skin, the weight of your body supported by firm earth, the sense that here, in this instant, nothing is missing. Remain there, by that imaginary lake, letting each breath be a caress for your mind. Feel how the day dissolves upon the tranquil surface of the water, how each agitated thought turns into a small ripple that disappears without a trace. This is your sanctuary. This is the beginning of your journey toward deep, restorative sleep. Rest is a virtue. We live in an age that has turned haste into a lifestyle, a time where rest is mistaken for weakness and pausing for a waste of time. Society celebrates jam-packed schedules, days without a breather, nights stolen from sleep. But if we listen carefully to the voice of the Stoics, we uncover a truth as ancient as it is forgotten. Rest is a virtue. Rest is discipline. Rest is part of the art of living. Resting is not doing nothing. Resting is caring for the most important instrument you possess, your mind and your body. And if that instrument breaks, if it wears beyond its limit, everything else collapses. An exhausted mind makes poor decisions. A depleted body loses the strength to uphold even the noblest ideals. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught moderation as one of the keys to the good life. It wasn't only about eating with measure or avoiding material excess, but also about regulating energy. Excessive action, just like excessive rest, breaks the balance that sustains virtue. The just point, the Aristotelian meson, which the Stoics also valued, is where virtuous life flourishes. If we look back through history, we find a pattern. Great leaders knew that victory is won not only on the battlefield or at the decision table, but also in the capacity to arrive at those moments with strength intact. Alexander the Great, during his campaigns, scheduled strategic pauses so his men could recover energy before decisive engagements. Roman generals, even in the midst of war, established rest shifts to avoid exhausting their legions. A tired army is a vulnerable army. The same was true of great thinkers. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome and Stoic philosopher, endured days full of overwhelming responsibilities. Plague, wars, political intrigue, and yet he found in the night a sacred moment to stop. There in silence he wrote his meditations. He didn't do it for leisure, but for mental discipline. He knew his judgment depended on inner clarity, and that this clarity could only be born from a balance between action and repose. I want you now to imagine an expert archer. His bow is his most precious tool. He draws it to launch the arrow, but he never keeps it drawn permanently. If he did, the string would lose elasticity, the bow would warp, and when the time came to shoot, its force would be weak and its aim uncertain. That's why, between shots, the archer loosens the string. It isn't laziness, it isn't weakness, it is wisdom. You too are that archer. Your bow is your body, your arrow is your purpose, and your target is the life you want to live. If you keep the string always taut, sooner or later it will break. Rest is the moment when you loosen the string, when you let the material regain its form, when you prepare for the next shot. Seen this way, rest becomes an act of responsibility. We don't rest because we have nothing to do. We rest because we have much to do and we want to do it well. As Seneca said, necessary rest is not idleness. The true Stoic understands that caring for oneself is part of one's duty toward the world. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, I want you to change the way you see it. It is not escape. It is not a pause from life. It is part of life itself. It is the forge where your character is tempered, the invisible workshop where your body repairs itself, the silent library where your mind orders what it learned. Each hour of rest you take with intention is like filling a reservoir of energy, patience, and clarity for the day to come. Think of a sailor who tends to his ship even when it's in port. He polishes the wood, checks the sails, oils the ropes, not because he is sailing at that moment, but because he knows the next voyage will arrive. So it is with rest for you. Silent care that ensures that when you set out again, you are ready for any storm. Now I want to invite you to a small exercise of reflection and connection with yourself. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose, feeling the fresh air fill your lungs, and exhale slowly through your mouth, letting all tension out. As you breathe, repeat mentally, unhurriedly, and with conviction. This rest is an investment in the best version of myself. Feel how these words settle inside you like seeds in fertile soil. With each inhalation, imagine you absorb calm, serenity, balance. With each exhalation, feel that you release worries, haste, the weight of the day. Let yourself be wrapped by this idea. Resting is not abandoning the fight. It is sharpening the sword. It is not fleeing the path. It is sitting at the roadside to drink water before continuing. Rest is the hidden root that nourishes the tree of your life. Without root, there is no fruit. So tonight, when you close your eyes, do it with gratitude. Do not feel guilty for sleeping. Feel proud for caring for yourself. Because rest, rightly understood, doesn't pull you away from your purpose. It brings you closer to it. And tomorrow, when dawn comes, your bow will be strong, your arrow straight, and your aim steady. Sleeping, then, is an act of virtue. And you, by doing it intentionally, are practicing the art of living like a true Stoic, quieting the inner noise. When night falls, the outer world begins to hush. Streets empty, lights go out, voices fade. Yet often that outer silence does not cross our inner walls. Inside the mind, noise lives on, thoughts bouncing back and forth, memories echoing, worries disguised as urgency, images of the day that has just passed and of days that have not yet come. That inner noise can be more exhausting than any real sound. The mind seems unable to stop, like a river running without rest, dragging along everything in its path. Sometimes we believe this noise is inevitable, that we can do nothing about it. However, the Stoics teach us that we do have a choice not to cling to every thought. The problem is not that the mind produces thoughts. That is its nature. The problem is that we identify with each one as if it were an order to obey or an unquestionable truth. We become hostages to our own inner dialogue. Epictetus put it clearly. It is not things that upset us, but our opinions about them. In this sentence lies one of the master keys to calm. It is not the memory of an argument that keeps you awake, but the interpretation you keep giving it hours later. It is not the pending task that weighs so heavily, but the story your mind creates about the consequences of not having done it yet. I want you to think about the day that has just passed. It was probably full of conversations, messages, tasks, small decisions. And now, in the stillness of the night, your mind wants to review it all, as if it had to make sure nothing is out of control. But the truth is that right now, there is nothing you can fix. The bed you are in is not a desk, and tonight is not a battlefield. Imagine for a moment that your thoughts are like clouds in the sky. Some are light and white, others are dense and gray. Some move fast, others seem to stay put. Your job is not to push them or stop them, just watch them pass. Just as you cannot take a cloud in your hands, you do not need to grab a thought for it to go away. The very nature of the sky is to let clouds flow. But I know that sometimes, even when we understand this, thoughts keep insisting. So I want to suggest a simple yet powerful technique. When you notice a thought repeats, give it a brief name. Work, families, fear, tomorrow. Then imagine that thought is tied to a balloon. Visualize the color of the balloon, its shape, its string, then release it. Watch it rise slowly, higher and higher, smaller and smaller, until it disappears into the night sky. You can do this with each thought that appears. Name it, tie it, release it. Name it, tie it, release it. At first they may return. That's okay. The balloons don't need to vanish forever. What matters is remembering that you can let them go again and again. Learning to quiet inner noise does not mean emptying the mind completely. It is not about forcing silence, but about changing your relationship with your thoughts. It is like being at a train station and seeing the cars pass in front of you. You can climb into each one, ride along for hours and get lost. Or you can stay on the platform watching them go by, knowing you don't have to board any of them. The Stoics practiced this kind of mental detachment not only for inner peace, but also for effectiveness. If your mind is trapped in a loop, it cannot see clearly. And for a Stoic, clarity is essential to live according to virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote reminders to himself that were, essentially, techniques of calm. Brief phrases that brought him back to the present, away from the noise even an emperor had to endure. Tonight, your task is not to solve what is not in your hands now. Your task is to tend the ground of your mind so that tomorrow clearer thoughts may bloom. Inner silence is fertile soil. And to create it, you need to let the clouds pass, let the balloons drift away, let the trains continue on their way. Let's try it now. Close your eyes gently if you haven't already. Inhale deeply, feeling the air enter fresh through your nose. Exhale slowly, as if releasing a sigh you have carried for hours. Think of a thought circling your mind right now. Name it. Visualize it tied to a balloon. And when you exhale again, imagine that you let it go and watch it rise, farther away, lighter and lighter, until it disappears. Repeat this as many times as you need. There is no rush, there is no obligation, only the opportunity here and now to release a bit more weight. Remember, inner silence is not the absence of thoughts, but the freedom not to get trapped in any of them. Accepting what the day brought. The day is over. Everything that had to happen, happened. It doesn't matter if it was a quiet day or one full of challenges, if you felt satisfaction or frustration, if you managed to move forward or if something was left pending. Now, as the night spreads around you, you have an opportunity to close the cycle of the day without judgment, to free your mind and surrender to rest. Consider this idea. The day you lived is already written. You cannot go back and change a single word, a single gesture, a single decision. No matter how much you wish it, there is no way to edit it like a draft. But there is something you can decide now: how to let it go. Stoicism teaches us to live serenely with what nature, or life, or fate places in our hands. Marcus Aurelius summed it up precisely. Accept what nature gives you and walk with serenity. He does not say, accept only what you like, nor accept only what goes well. He speaks of accepting everything. Imagine you are a painter in your studio. You've spent hours before a canvas. You've mixed colors, traced lines, corrected mistakes, added details. Some strokes came out as you wanted, others not so much. The work is not perfect, but it faithfully reflects what you could do today with your hands, your experience, your energy, and your circumstances. Now the sun has set. You put away the brushes, clean the table, look at the painting one last time, and turn off the lights. You don't throw it away. You don't redo it immediately. You leave it as it is, knowing that tomorrow you will see it with different eyes. Life works the same way. Each day is a different, unrepeatable canvas. Some days seem like masterpieces, others like hurried sketches, but all deserve to be closed at the end, not to forget them, but so they don't chase you while you try to rest. Let me tell you the brief story of someone who learned to close their days consciously. Each night, before sleeping, they opened a notebook and wrote 3 sentences. The first about something good that had happened, no matter how small. Today I smiled at the sunrise. A conversation made me feel accompanied. I ate something I enjoyed. The second, about something learned. I need to speak more calmly. Planning better avoids rushing. And the third, about something they decided to leave behind. I won't take the worry about that meeting with me. I won't blame myself for the mistake I made at work. After writing them, they closed the notebook and put it in a drawer. With that gesture, they also closed the day in their mind. This simple ritual has enormous power. By recognizing the good, you feed gratitude. By identifying what you learned, you turn errors into teachers. And by letting go of what you don't want to carry to bed, you make space for rest. I want you to try it tonight, even if you don't have pen and paper at hand. We'll do it mentally, like a guided meditation. Close your eyes softly and breathe deeply. Inhale through your nose, feeling the fresh air fill your lungs. Exhale through your mouth, as if you were releasing the weight of the day. Now, visualize a box in front of you. It can be made of any material: wood, metal, cardboard, whatever your mind prefers. The important thing is that it has a lid you can close. On your next breath, think of something good that happened today. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. Place that memory as if it were a luminous object on an imaginary table. Admire it for a moment. Be grateful that it was part of your day. Now think of something you learned today. It could be an important lesson or a tiny detail. Imagine it as a useful object you want to keep, Place it on the table too. Lastly, think of something you do not want to take to bed. It could be a worry, an uncomfortable conversation, a mistake, a nagging thought. Visualize it as a heavy or awkward object. Take this last object and put it inside the box. Close the lid firmly. If you want, imagine putting a lock on it. Feel the relief of knowing that what's inside that box will not accompany you through the night. It is stored, safe, awaiting a more appropriate moment to attend to it, or perhaps to let it go forever. This symbolic gesture, though simple, has a profound effect. Your mind responds to the signals you give it. By imagining that you store something away, your nervous system receives the message that it is time to rest, not to keep solving. Remember that accepting what the day brought does not mean conforming to what you don't like. It means recognizing that today you gave what you could with what you had, and that tomorrow will be another opportunity. Thus, little by little, you learn that rest is also an act of virtue. Because a mind that knows how to close cycles neither clings to the past nor fears the future. It simply inhabits the peace of the present. Calm is a bridge to sleep. The body may be lying in bed covered by soft sheets, still and ready. But if the mind keeps running, replaying conversations, imagining scenarios, or ruminating worries, sleep does not come. True rest begins long before closing your eyes. It begins when calm settles like a gentle breeze on the surface of your mind. Calm doesn't always appear on its own. There are nights when, no matter how much we try to switch off, thoughts stay lit like lights that won't go out. That's why, on the path toward deep restorative sleep, calm is like a key. It opens the door between waking and deep rest. Imagine a pond at dusk. At first, its surface is agitated, small waves, crossing ripples, distorted reflections. But little by little, as the minutes pass, the wind stops, the water quiets, and the surface begins to reflect the sky. It's kicked with perfect clarity. So it is with the mind when we give it space to settle. At the start, agitated, afterward, clear and serene. In daily life, we can shift from noise to silence in a matter of seconds if we choose. Think of a particularly stressful day. Perhaps you had meetings, piled up tasks, problems to solve. And yet, upon arriving home, you choose to turn off your phone, sit in a comfortable place, and allow yourself 10 minutes of silence before sleep. In those minutes, the world remains outside, but you give yourself permission not to carry it on your shoulders. What happens next is not magic, but it is peace. Your breathing deepens, your pulse steadies, your muscles relax, your body receives the message that it is safe to rest. Seneca expressed it simply and powerfully. Perfect tranquility consists in the order of the mind. It's not that the world stops being chaotic, nor that everything around you is resolved. It's that, despite it all, you choose to bring order within. And that order is the bridge that takes you to sleep. Nightly calm is, in fact, a form of resistance against the agitation of the world. We live in an era that pushes us to be always connected, always doing, always thinking. To stop, relax, and rest are acts against the current. It isn't weakness, it is wisdom. A Stoic does not seek to flee life, but he knows that to face it, he must renew his strength. And rest is that renewal. Now, I want to suggest a small practice. It is simple but powerful. A breathing technique that will help your mind slow down and your body release accumulated tension. Let's do it together. Inhale deeply through your nose while counting to 4. Hold the air in your lungs while counting to 4 again. Exhale gently through your mouth, feeling your whole body loosen while counting to 6. This inhale, hold, exhale rhythm creates a pattern of physiological calm. By lengthening the exhale, your nervous system receives the signal that there is no danger, that all is well, and activates the relaxation response. Let's repeat it 5 times. First time, inhale counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Second time, feel how your shoulders drop a little more with each exhale. Third time, notice how your jaw releases, how your forehead softens. Fourth time, your breathing now flows more slowly and deeply, as if your body itself remembered what it is to be at peace. Fifth time, imagine that with each exhale you let go a little more of the invisible weight you carry. When you finish, simply remain in that state a few more seconds. Notice how your body feels, lighter, looser, as if you were melting into the mattress. Notice your mind as well. Perhaps there are still thoughts, but now they seem slower, like leaves floating on water. Remember, you don't have to force calm, only invite it. Like a guest to whom you open the door and offer a comfortable seat, calm arrives when there is space for it. And when calm arrives, sleep follows like a faithful shadow. Stoic breathing. In Stoic philosophy, self-control doesn't begin with grand speeches or outward feats. It begins with what is simplest and most essential: breathing. The Stoics understood, without our modern scientific terminology, that body and mind are deeply united, and they knew that if you wanted to change your mental state, a good place to start was with the rhythm of your breath. It is no accident that Epictetus advised his students to pause before reacting. That pause isn't a void, it is a space full of awareness, an instant in which impulse stops and reason comes into play. Conscious breathing is that pause made flesh, a way of telling your mind and your emotions that they don't have to run, that they can stay still, that there is time. I want you to imagine this. You are on a beach at sunrise. During the night, the wind blew hard, churning the waves. But as the sun begins to edge over the horizon, the wind eases. The water calms, the air grows softer. That slow, natural easing of the wind is like the breathing we're about to practice, a transition from agitation to serenity. When you breathe shallow and fast, you send your body a message of alert. It is as if you were saying, "There's danger, we must act." But when you lengthen the inhale, hold the air, and prolong the exhale, you send the opposite message: all is well, you can rest. This technique not only prepares you for sleep, it also trains your mind to respond with composure during the day. Let's practice together. Find a comfortable posture, whether lying down or sitting, and place a hand on your abdomen. We'll let the breath happen from there, not from the chest, so it's deeper and more natural. First cycle. Inhale gently through your nose, counting in your mind to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feel your abdomen expand as if inflating an inner balloon. Hold the air, counting again to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Imagine that in that quiet space, calm settles into every corner of your body. Exhale slowly through your mouth while counting to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Feel how any remaining tension releases from your muscles. Take a brief, natural pause without forcing before inhaling again. Second cycle. While you inhale, visualize the air entering as a clear, warm light that softly illuminates your interior. As you hold, that light expands, filling every cell with a sense of safety and rest. As you exhale, imagine the air leaving carries with it any worry or heavy thought. Third cycle. Notice whether there's already a change in your body. Perhaps your shoulders are lower, your jaw looser, your brow softer. Fourth cycle. Remember Marcus Aurelius's words, "The soul is dyed the color of its thoughts." At this moment, your thoughts are dyed with calm, because your breathing is calm. Fifth cycle. Allow yourself a longer, gentler exhale, as if you were letting go a little more with every breath. What you've just done is more than an exercise for sleep. You have trained your mind to respond instead of react. You have practiced patience and attention, and without realizing it, you have followed one of Stoicism's central principles. Focus your energy on what is within your control. You cannot always control what happens around you, but you can control the rhythm of your breathing, and through it, your inner state. When you practice this Stoic breathing in daily life, you'll discover that in the middle of conflict, waiting, or bad news, you possess a silent tool no one can take from you. A resource that anchors you in the present and reminds you that, come what may, you always have a refuge within. Tonight, as you go to sleep, repeat mentally, "With each slow breath, I remember that I am alive, and that is enough." Let those words mingle with your inhalation and exhalation, and little by little, let them become a bridge toward deep, restoring, agitation-free sleep, releasing control. In Stoic philosophy, there is a fundamental distinction that, if you understand and apply it, can transform your way of living and sleeping, the difference between what is within your control and what is not. It seems a simple, almost obvious truth, yet in practice we constantly forget it. We cling to situations, outcomes, other people's decisions, as if our effort could force the course of things. The reality is that, no matter how much you want it, you cannot stop the tide from rising, make the weather change in a heartbeat, or cause another person to think or act as you wish. And yet, how much energy we spend trying to do exactly that. Stoicism is not indifference. It is intelligent direction of energy. It is knowing that when night falls, you must tie up the boat and retire because the tide will do what it must while you sleep. Think of a sailor. He has spent the whole day trimming sails, keeping his course, reading sky and sea. At sunset, he moors the boat, checks what is in his hands, the ropes, the rudder, the sails, and then he withdraws. He knows he cannot move the wind with his will nor prevent the currents from flowing. He rests because he trusts that tomorrow, with light and energy, he will take the helm again. That is how we should face our nighttime worries. Perhaps tomorrow you have an important meeting. It may be a decisive moment, a meeting that has occupied your mind for days. And right now, in the stillness of your room, you notice that worry remains lit like an ember that will not die. The question is, can tonight's worry improve tomorrow's meeting? Can it make your voice steadier, your ideas clearer? The answer is no. In fact, the opposite is likely. The more you let your mind wear itself out tonight, the less clarity you will have when the time comes. Epictetus summed it up precisely. Do what you can with what depends on you, and accept the rest as it comes. It is an invitation to let go, not from passive resignation, but from active trust. You have done what you could do today. You have sown what was in your hands. Now it's time to let the earth, the rain, and time do their part. I want to suggest a mental exercise. Imagine that every worry you have tonight is a stone. Some are small, a message you haven't answered, a minor mistake you made. Others are large, a family problem, a pending decision, a difficult conversation. Visualize all those stones in a sack you carry on your back. Feel the weight. Feel how it slows your steps, how it tightens your shoulders. Now imagine that you walk to the shore of a calm lake lit by soft moonlight. The water is serene, the air is fresh. You set the sack on the sand. You do not throw it into the water because you are neither escaping nor destroying anything. You simply leave it there, trusting it will be safe until tomorrow. You take a few steps back, breathe deeply, and feel how your body lightens. That is the feeling of releasing what you cannot control now. Sleep is not abandoning your responsibilities. Sleep is recharging to face them with greater strength, lucidity, and serenity tomorrow. It is like sharpening a tool before using it again. It is not a waste of time. It is preparation. Marcus Aurelius, who governed an empire in times of crisis, wrote reflections before sleeping. And though he faced wars, plagues, and betrayals, he knew how to withdraw into himself for a few hours to rest. He understood that rest is not a luxury, but a duty toward oneself and toward those who depend on us. Tonight, when you feel a thought insist on staying, ask yourself, is this within my control right now? If the answer is no, hand it over to the shore of the lake in your mind. Let it rest there, like the sack of stones. Tomorrow, if it is still important, you will return to it with new strength. As you settle to sleep, repeat mentally, what is not in my hands, I release. What is in my hands, I will do tomorrow. Let those words mix with your breathing until calm becomes the current that carries you gently towards sleep. Night gratitude. There is a moment just before sleep when the mind tends to slip free. It starts reviewing everything that happened during the day, but not always fairly. Often it's as if it had a magnet for problems, what went wrong, what you didn't say, what worries you about tomorrow. Left unchecked, that mental review turns into an endless list of to-dos and reproaches that tense the body just when we most need to relax. Stoic philosophy offers a simple yet deeply transformative remedy. Gratitude. Not a superficial gratitude of saying thanks by habit, but a conscious, directed, felt gratitude. Marcus Aurelius, reflecting on his days, reminded himself that, when you arise in the morning, think of the privilege of being alive. If we adapt this idea tonight, we could say, think of the privilege of having lived this day. Because no matter how your day went, there were moments, perhaps tiny, perhaps fleeting, that deserve recognition. A ray of sun on your face, a kind word, an instant of laughter, a breath in the midst of chaos. And if your day was hard, those small moments are even more valuable. Imagine this practice as lighting candles in the dark. The night is your mind in calm, but the shadows are those thoughts that trouble you. Now, visualize 3 little candles before you. Each one represents something you are grateful for today. They need not be large. They can be as simple as the smell of morning coffee, an unexpected message from someone you care about, or the satisfaction of having completed a task. Close your eyes for a moment, take a deep breath. As you inhale, recall the first of those things. It might be a kind gesture someone had for you today. Relive it as if it were happening now. See the scene, hear the words, feel the warmth it left in you. Imagine that by remembering it, you light the first candle. A soft, warm light begins to illuminate your inner space. Now, on your next inhalation, bring to mind the second thing you are grateful for. Perhaps it was an instant of peace in the middle of your day. Maybe you looked out the window and saw the clouds moving or felt the wind on your skin. Sense how that memory becomes light as well. You light the second candle. The space brightens a bit more. On the third inhalation, think of something that may have gone unnoticed at the time, but that you now recognize as valuable. It can be as simple as having a roof over your head, a bed waiting for you, or the chance to rest after an intense day. In recognizing it, you light the third candle. The darkness is no longer total. The 3 lights are lit, and in their glow, you realize that gratitude does not deny what went wrong. It simply gives your mind a different direction, a safer place to rest. The Stoics knew that attention is like water. Where you pour it, life grows. If you pour it on complaint, dissatisfaction grows. If you pour it on what you appreciate, peace grows. This exercise is more than a nighttime ritual. It is training for life. When you consciously choose to acknowledge the good, even in a complicated day, you are training your mind to find balance in any circumstance. You are, as Seneca would say, taking the reins of your soul before surrendering to rest. Now feel how your breathing syncs with this feeling of sufficiency. There is no rush now, no struggle. There is a deep recognition that today brought something worth keeping. Repeat mentally with each breath, "What I have is enough. What I lived, I appreciate. What comes tomorrow, I will receive." Allow these words to sink slowly into your awareness like smooth stones settling at the bottom of a calm lake. There is no urgency. There is nothing more to do. It is just you, your breath, and the warm light of 3 small candles burning silently in the stillness of the night. Let that light accompany you as you cross the bridge to sleep, because gratitude, practiced this way, not only calms the mind, it also opens the door to deeper, more restorative, fuller rest. The present as refuge. We live in a time when the mind easily becomes a restless traveler. It goes backward to review what already happened, trying to change it with thoughts that will never modify it. Then it runs forward, imagining a future that does not yet exist, filling it with worries, fears, and scenarios that may never come to pass. In the middle of it all, the only place where we can truly live, the present, goes unnoticed. Stoicism, with its simplicity and firmness, reminds us of a forgotten truth. The life of each person is in the present, the rest is past or uncertain, wrote Marcus Aurelius. These words ring like a gentle bell in the night, calling us back to the only moment we have in our hands. Consider this. The present is not only a fleeting instant, it is a refuge, a safe space where nothing from the past can reach you and nothing from the future can trouble you. Here in this second, your breath keeps its rhythm, your heartbeat marks a silent tempo, and life happens. Truly. Surely today, at some point, your mind slipped out of that refuge. Maybe you were eating and found your phone in your hand, scrolling through messages or news, or perhaps someone was talking to you and instead of listening fully, you were thinking of what you would say. These are small moments, but when they accumulate, they pull us away from the real experience of living. The present is not complicated to find, but it does require a decision. It's as if you were a traveler lost in a dense forest, following paths that fork and tangle. Suddenly you find a clearing, an open, quiet space where the sun warms the ground, where the air is fresh and light. You can sit, drop your backpack, and rest. That clearing is the here and now, and to arrive there, you don't need to walk further, only to stop. Let's do something together. Close your eyes if you haven't yet. Bring your attention to 3 sounds you can hear right now. It could be the distant murmur of the street, the soft echo of your breath, or even the silence, which is also a sound if you know how to listen. Do not analyze them. Simply acknowledge them. 1, 2, 3. Now feel the weight of your body on the surface that supports you. Notice the points of contact, your back, your legs, your head. Allow your body to sink a little more, as if gravity were a soft blanket covering you. Perceive the temperature of the air on your skin. Is it cool, warm? Do not try to change it. Just accept it as it is. That temperature is happening now, in this instant. This exercise is not merely a relaxation practice. It is a door to the present. And by entering the present, you disconnect from the invisible claws of anxiety. Because anxiety lives in the future and what you fear might happen. Guilt and regret live in the past, in what you wish had been different. The present, by contrast, is neutral ground, a refuge you can always return to. Marcus Aurelius, in writing his Meditations, did not get lost in nostalgia or anticipation. Even while ruling an empire, he remembered that true life occurs now. while you breathe, while you think, while you exist. And if he could find that refuge amid wars and crises, you can find it here in your room in the calm of the night. Think of this moment as an anchor. Whenever your mind starts to drift toward thoughts of tomorrow or yesterday, come back to this sensation. The sounds, the weight of your body, the air's temperature. It is simple, and in its simplicity lies its power. As you prepare to sleep, let this idea settle gently into your mind. This moment is enough. You need nothing more to be at peace. You do not need to solve everything, plan everything, or understand everything before sleeping. Here and now, you are safe. Here and now, you can rest. Let the present wrap you like a quiet refuge, a place without doors or windows where nothing can burst in. The here and now is yours, and within it, sleep can arrive like a long-expected guest, the night as teacher. Night has a language of its own. It is a tongue spoken not with words but with pauses, nuances, and silences. During the day, lights, noises, and external demands surround us like a constant tide. But when night arrives, something happens. The world turns down its volume, and in that lowering, things begin to be heard that remained hidden during the day. For the Stoics, learning is not limited to books or explicit lessons. Learning is also observing, reflecting, and listening attentively. Seneca put it clearly, "While we live, let us learn to live," and night is a perfect teacher for that, because it offers us the ideal stage to learn without hurry, without distractions, without the pressure to produce or prove. Think of those times when, lying in the dark, your mind has shown you truths you had not seen by day. Perhaps a memory you needed to understand from another angle, or a decision that suddenly became clearer. In nighttime stillness, it is as if the mind becomes a pond. When its waters are churned by daytime activity, they reflect nothing sharply. But when night comes and the water calms, the stars appear mirrored on the surface. It's not that they weren't there during the day, it's that you couldn't see them. The silence of night is not an absence, it is a different presence. It is not a void, but a space full of subtle nuances inviting us to pay attention. If you pause to listen to it, you will notice sounds you didn't perceive before. The faint hum of electricity, a whisper of wind through leaves, your own breathing. And among those sounds there is something else, your own thought, free of external interference. This is a moment to practice Stoic introspection. Marcus Aurelius, before sleeping, reviewed his day's actions, not to punish himself but to learn from them. He asked his mind, "What did I do well? What could I improve? Where did I let my emotions rule my decisions?" In the calm of the night, he found answers. I invite you to use this night not only to rest but to learn. Close your eyes for a moment and let silence settle. Feel that there is nothing you must do now except listen. Do not force answers. Let ideas arrive when they wish, like leaves floating gently along a river. You may notice an emotion emerging in this silence, one you had ignored. It might be sadness, gratitude, relief, or even tiredness. Observe it without judging it. This is the mirror of the night. It shows you what you are now, without the masks of the day. Night also teaches acceptance. The sun doesn't hurry to rise. The darkness does not resist arriving. There is a natural rhythm to everything, and night honors it. Perhaps that is one of its deepest lessons. Not everything requires our immediate intervention. Some things need to rest in the dark before blooming in daylight. Visualize now a pond at night. The air is cool, the surface of the water is smooth like a mirror. Above it, stars shine. There is no rush to understand them all. It is enough to know they are there, reminding you that even in darkness there is beauty and direction. Breathe deeply. With each inhalation, feel you are absorbing the calm of this scene. With each exhalation, let any mental noise dissolve like ripples slowly fading away. The closing of this part is simple but powerful. Listen to the silence. Not as the absence of sound, but as the presence of a deep calm. A silent teacher who, night after night, offers you the chance to know yourself better. Tomorrow the light will return and the noise will resume. But what you learn tonight, what you observe in this silence, can accompany you and strengthen you when the day stirs the waters again. Letting the day go. The day has reached its end, and yet the mind sometimes resists accepting it, as if holding in its hands a rope that still pulls backward, clinging to conversations, unfinished tasks, small successes and failures it keeps reviewing in silence. But if you do not release that rope, you carry it to bed. And there, instead of offering rest, it becomes a weight. Stoicism reminds us that each day is a complete unit. It begins, unfolds, and ends. Epictetus put it clearly. Remember that it is not the event that disturbs you, but the opinion you have about it. If tonight you still feel something from the day is troubling you, it's because your opinion about it remains alive, active, repeating like an echo. The event is already over. The only thing you can release now is your judgment of it. Imagine a shopkeeper at the end of his workday. He has served customers, organized merchandise, balanced accounts. Perhaps there were pleasant moments and setbacks as well. But when it is time to close, he doesn't stay standing in the middle of the shop replaying what happened again and again. He goes to each switch and turns off each light. Then he lowers the shutter with a slow, deliberate gesture. He knows he will open again tomorrow, but tonight, out of respect for himself and his rest, he lets the day end. Think of your day as that shop. You've lived conversations, emotions, decisions. Some went as you expected, others didn't. And now, as the night advances, it is time to walk through that space in your mind, switching off the lights that have been left on and lowering today's shutter. The analogy can also be a book. You are reading a chapter, and although the story is intense, the moment comes to close it. You place a bookmark, shelve it, and trust it will be there tomorrow intact to keep reading. You don't tear out the pages nor try to rewrite them in the night. You simply close it calmly. Let's do a guided exercise together. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply, and as you exhale, imagine you're in a quiet room. In the center, there is a solid, dark wooden box with a golden lock. Now visualize each scene from your day as if they were photographs. The first image that comes to mind. Look at it for a moment. Acknowledge what it represents, whether it's something good or something that made you uneasy. Then place it inside the box. Go through other images, a conversation, a repetitive thought, a task you completed, something left pending. Do not judge them, do not analyze them, simply acknowledge them and store them one by one inside the box. When you feel there is nothing else to store, close the lid gently. Feel the weight of the wood and hear the click of the lock as it shuts. Now imagine placing the box in a safe place, a high shelf, a closed cabinet, a protected corner of your mind. It is there, stored. Tomorrow, if you wish, you can open it again. But tonight it is closed. This symbolic act is more than a mental exercise. It is an act of self-care. It means you grant yourself permission not to carry everything while you sleep, that you recognize your rest has as much value as your activity. Life is not built only in hours of work or hours of action. It is also forged in hours of pause, silence, and repair. If we do not close the day consciously, small currents of worry keep flowing beneath our calm, stealing the deep sleep we need. In this moment, repeat mentally, "The day is over, I let it go." You can say it once, or as many times as you need until you feel your shoulders loosen, your breathing slow, the rope that tied you to the past hours releasing little by little. Remember that letting go does not mean forgetting or ignoring. It means postponing the load to take it up again. With a clearer mind and a more rested body, the shopkeeper will reopen his store. The reader will return to the book. You too will return to what you are storing today. But you will do it tomorrow, in the day's light, when your energy is renewed. For now, see the present as a shore. You have arrived from a turbulent river of activities and thoughts, and now you set foot on firm ground. You do not have to swim anymore tonight. You can sit, feel the sand beneath your hands, and hear the sound of the water moving away. The day is done. The good and the bad, the easy and the hard, already part of your story. They do not need your watch tonight. Your only task now is to rest. Serenity as a shield. Serenity is not weakness, nor is it simple passivity or indifference. Serenity is an active, conscious state, an invisible strength that protects us from the blows of anxiety, fear, or accumulated stress. It is not about fleeing problems, but about being so centered that even when the world tries to shake you, your core remains intact. Think of Marcus Aurelius. Picture the emperor of Rome, surrounded by generals, strategists, and messengers bringing news of conflict and crisis. Amid all this, he was not only ordering military movements or resolving political intrigues. In the solitude of his tent, under the cold of night, he also wrote in his meditations about the importance of maintaining equanimity. While the storm raged outside, he lit a lamp and worked on his inner calm. That calm was his true shield. Serenity functions like armor that does not weigh you down, yet protects you constantly. It does not stop the outside world, but it prevents its blows from penetrating more than necessary. When you are serene, you can listen without reacting immediately, observe without judging, feel without drowning in emotion. Visualize a lighthouse. High on a cliff, surrounded by a stormy sea, the wind lashes, the waves break with force. And yet the lighthouse remains, firm, sending its light through the night. It does not compete with the storm. It does not try to stop the sea. It simply fulfills its purpose: to guide, to illuminate, to remain constant. Serenity within you works the same way. Tonight, as you prepare to sleep, imagine your serenity as that lighthouse. No matter whether the day brought turbulence, conflict, or doubt, within you there is a fixed point, a clear center that does not move. Breathe deeply. Inhale through the nose, counting slowly to 4. Feel that with that inhalation, a warm golden light enters you, soft and gentle. That light is calm. It travels through your chest, your shoulders, down your arms, all the way to your hands. Hold the air for a moment, sensing the light settling into every corner of your body. Now exhale slowly, counting to 6. As you do, imagine you expel a dark smoke, accumulated tension, unnecessary haste, worries that have weighed upon your mind. Repeat this pattern several times. You inhale calm as golden light. You exhale agitation as dark smoke. Each breath becomes an act of fortifying your inner shield. You are training your body and your mind to respond with serenity, not agitation. Remember, serenity is not improvised. Just as a warrior sharpens his sword every day, you sharpen your calm every night. This quiet training ensures that when a challenge arises, your response is not automatic or impulsive, but balanced and conscious. Seneca put it this way: nothing benefits us as much as serenity. Serenity not only protects you from external harm, it also preserves you from yourself, from your own exaggerated reactions, inflated fears, and hasty conclusions. Tonight, feel your serenity grow with each breath. Imagine your body wrapped in a sphere of golden light. Inside that sphere, the day's noise is muffled, external demands remain outside. Here, there is only you, your breathing, and the sense of being protected by something no one can give or take away. The sleep that follows such serenity is deep and restorative. It is not rest that arrives from collapse, but from conscious choice. You do not sleep as one who falls. You sleep as one who willingly surrenders to the peace you have cultivated. Tomorrow, when you open your eyes, that serenity will not be gone. It will be the same light guiding your steps in the day's first hours. And if you practice it night after night, it will become a habit as natural as breathing until you no longer need to seek it. It will be your usual state. For now, let it hold you. Imagine that while you sleep, the golden light remains lit, like the lighthouse shining over the sea. The world can churn all it wants. You will remain calm, the art of not reacting. We live in a world that rewards speed. Instant responses, immediate comments, quick comebacks. What we seldom admit is that in that immediacy, we often allow others to control our emotional state. We react as if someone else held the switch to our mood. Without realizing it, we hand over our power. Stoicism teaches a fundamental principle. Not everything that happens outside you deserves a response inside you. Marcus Aurelius summed it up clearly. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. This phrase speaks not only of morals, it is a reminder that you have the capacity not to let others' actions or words define your character or your peace. Think of the moment when someone throws an offensive, provocative comment. The immediate reaction is to respond, defend, attack back. But what happens if you choose not to? If instead of feeding the fire, you choose not to put more wood on it, you discover that the flame goes out on its own. Your energy remains intact. There is no need to enter a battle that would only leave you exhausted. Visualize a lake, calm, reflecting the sky. Suddenly, someone throws a stone. The water stirs, ripples form, the sky's reflection breaks. But if you let time pass, without adding more stones, the lake returns to stillness. The surface recovers its perfect reflection. So it is with the mind when you choose not to react. The initial disturbance fades and calm returns by itself. Not reacting does not mean repressing, it means observing. Recognizing what has occurred, feeling what it awakens in you, and then deciding consciously whether it deserves your energy. It is an art, and like any art, it requires practice. Recall a recent situation in which you reacted impulsively. Perhaps words said without thinking, an argument at home, a message on social media. Now, close your eyes and imagine you have that moment before you again. But this time, instead of responding instantly, you breathe deeply. You feel the air enter and leave as if it were creating a small barrier of time between you and the action. In that space, something changes. The urgency disappears. You realize you can choose. Respond calmly, remain silent, or simply withdraw. And in this visualization, you choose silence. Notice how, by not feeding the spark, the fire extinguishes. Your body relaxes, your thoughts don't knot themselves up. What remains is the sense of having protected a sacred space, your peace. The world is full of provocations, some big, some small, and we cannot always avoid them, but we can decide how many of them will enter us and stay. Not reacting immediately is like having a filter that separates what matters from what does not. The Stoics did not seek a life without challenges. They sought to be masters of their response to those challenges. That inner control is the true superpower. It is not about winning every external battle, but about winning the inner battle of not letting any stone agitate your lake. Tonight, before sleeping, repeat mentally, I don't have to react to everything that happens. And if an uncomfortable thought tries to stir your calm, watch it like that stone falling into the water, and then see how the ripples fade by themselves. In the silence that follows, you will discover that the art of not reacting is not only a technique for avoiding conflicts, but a path toward a lighter, clearer, more truly yours life. The lightness of detachment. Night is a faithful mirror. What you carry through the day, you take with you to bed. Sometimes, without realizing it, we try to sleep with a backpack full of stuff. Worries we didn't resolve, expectations that weren't met, thoughts repeated again and again. The body may be still on the mattress, but the mind keeps walking, tired because it carries too much weight. Stoicism reminds us of something simple that can change how we live. A great part of our suffering comes from attachment. Attachment to an outcome that didn't arrive, to an image we want to uphold, to a plan we believed immovable, to people who are no longer here or are not as we imagined. Seneca put it clearly. True freedom is needing nothing. It doesn't mean living without affection or aspirations, but understanding that nothing and no one should have the power to break our inner peace. Imagine a traveler walking a mountain path with a backpack. At first, he doesn't even notice the weight, but with each kilometer it begins to show. His back aches, his legs tire, his breathing quickens. At some point, he decides to open the pack. Inside are things he thought he'd need. Duplicate objects, stones he picked up for no reason, heavy keepsakes that served no purpose. One by one, he starts dropping them to the ground and something happens. Each time he lets something go, his steps become lighter, his view clearer, his enjoyment of the landscape deeper. So it is with life when we practice detachment. It is not renouncing what matters. It is letting go of what does not help us move forward. It is understanding that by releasing, we gain space to breathe. Now think of a hot air balloon. It sits on the ground, unable to rise because sandbags are tied to its basket. The hot air is already inside, ready to lift it, but the weight holds it still. Only when someone cuts the cords and drops the ballast does the balloon begin to ascend. Softly, effortlessly. The lightness of detachment works the same way. We let go and almost without noticing, we rise. Tonight I invite you to a brief guided exercise. Close your eyes and visualize that you are carrying a backpack. Inside, each object represents a thought that worries you or a concern you do not wish to take into sleep. It could be something that happened today, a pending conversation, a task to do, an expectation that was not met. Take out the first object. Look at it closely. Acknowledge it. This was part of my day, but now I choose not to carry it into the night. Let it fall to the ground, feeling the weight on your back diminish a little. Take out the second object. It may be bigger, perhaps harder to release. But remember, tomorrow, if it truly matters, you can take it up again with renewed energy. Tonight is not the time to carry it. Let it go. Repeat this process with each thought object that appears. There is no rush, no judgment, only a gentle, steady release, like a river letting go of what it no longer needs to drag along. When the backpack is empty, close the zipper and feel the lightness in your shoulders. You are ready to walk with no weight. Sleeping with inner lightness is a gift we give ourselves. Rest not only restores the body, it also clears mental and emotional space, and upon waking, that lightness remains. It becomes a momentum that accompanies you through the day, making you more present, freer, more aware. Detachment practiced each night is like emptying a glass before filling it again. If we always leave it full, there will be no room for anything new, but if each night we release what doesn't serve us, we leave space so that, at dawn, clarity, energy, and inspiration can enter. Remember, detachment is not loss, it is gaining freedom. And tonight, as you close your eyes, feel how that freedom expands within you, light as air, lifting you gently toward deep, renewing rest. The mind as a garden. The mind never stops working. Even while we sleep, it continues generating thoughts, memories, and dreams. But like a garden, what grows there depends on what we choose to plant and on how we care for it. A neglected plot fills with weeds without our noticing. Likewise, a mind without attention fills with worries, resentments, and unsettling thoughts. Stoicism teaches that we possess immense power to choose which thoughts we cultivate. Marcus Aurelius summed it up in a phrase as simple as it is profound. Your mind takes the color of your thoughts. If we feed ideas that generate anxiety, the mind is dyed with unrest. If we sow calm, gratitude, or hope, that will be the tone that colors our way of seeing the world. Imagine a garden at day's end. The sun is lowering, the light is golden and soft. A gardener walks the paths, observing each corner. He sees flowers growing beautifully and weeds pushing up among them. He knows that if he does not pull the weeds now, tomorrow they will be larger and will take the place of the flowers. With patience, he removes the roots, aerates the soil, waters carefully, and plants new seeds. When he finishes, he breathes deeply. The garden is ready to rest through the night, and in the morning the light will find an orderly, fertile place. Our mind before sleep needs exactly the same care. During the day, we have received words, images, emotions, worries. Some of them are like flowers. They nourish us, inspire us, make us feel good. Others are like weeds. They tense us, drain us, unsettle us. If left unattended, these weeds will grow while we sleep, appearing as restless dreams and tired awakenings. Think right now. What thoughts have you let in today that you do not want to take into the night? They may be small arguments, self-criticism, fears about the future, comparisons with others. You don't need to fight them. Just acknowledge them and gently pull them up like a gardener who knows that yanking violently may damage the nearby flower's roots. Now imagine entering your own mental garden. It's a place only you know. It may have stone paths and colorful flowers, or it may be simple and green. Look around and notice where the weeds are. Go to those spots and one by one pull them up. Each time you release one, you feel a bit lighter. When you've cleared the ground, it is time to plant. Choose 3 seeds, each representing a word you want to accompany your rest. Perhaps calm because you desire deep and peaceful sleep. Perhaps gratitude to end the day appreciating what you have. Perhaps strength to wake with renewed energy. Take the first word and plant it at the center of your mental garden. Imagine a luminous plant growing, radiating that energy throughout the space. Do the same with the second and third words until your garden is full of the soft light only good seeds produce. As you do this exercise, breathe slowly. With each inhalation, imagine fresh air entering to nourish those seeds. With each exhalation, feel any shadow or leftover weed drift away. Sleeping after tending your mental garden is like leaving fertile earth under the care of the night. The seeds you planted today will germinate while you sleep, and when you open your eyes tomorrow, you will notice that something in you feels clearer, lighter, more aligned. A mind cared for before sleeping is a gift that multiplies. You not only rest better, you wake stronger to face the day. And night after night, if you continue this habit, your garden will grow so strong and healthy that weeds will have less and less space to sprout. Remember, what you plant in your mind before sleep is what will bloom in your life. And tonight, as you close your eyes, sow what you want to harvest, flowing with life. Life, in its essence, never stops. No matter how tightly we cling to a moment, a stage, a person, or a feeling, everything flows, everything changes. Sometimes change excites us and we celebrate it. Other times it unsettles us and we wish to stop it. But as Stoicism reminds us, wisdom is not in fighting the natural course of things, but in learning to navigate it with serenity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Adapt yourself to what has been allotted to you and love sincerely the people with whom fate has bound you. It is not an invitation to passivity, but to flexibility. The river of life cannot be stopped, but we can learn to move with it, to read its currents, to recognize when it is time to row hard and when it is time to let the current carry us. Imagine a farmer living in harmony with the seasons. He sows in spring, tends in summer, harvests in autumn, and rests in winter. He never tries to sow when the ground is frozen, nor expects a harvest at the moment of budding. He understands that there is a time for each thing and that forcing a cycle invites frustration. So also with us, if we learn to recognize the seasons of our life, we can act with more wisdom and less resistance. Think of times you have fought an inevitable change, perhaps the end of a work stage, a move, a relationship that changed form. In those moments, resisting is like swimming against a strong current. You spend your energy, you exhaust yourself, and often end up in the same place you would have reached if you had let the water guide you. The Stoic doesn't see the current as an enemy, but as a teacher. He watches the water and learns its nature. He understands that, although he cannot see the river's end, the current knows where it goes. Visualize for a moment that you are a fish in a clear, gentle river. You do not fight the current, you move with it. Your body adapts to the turns, to the fast stretches, to the pools where the water barely moves. There is no rush. There is no urgency. Only a constant natural journey forward. This flowing does not mean a lack of direction. It means acting when appropriate and releasing when it's time. It is knowing that, even when you have no control over the course, you do have control over your attitude. Tonight, I propose a simple exercise. Close your eyes and visualize yourself floating on a calm river. Feel the pleasant temperature of the water, the gentle motion that rocks you. Look up and observe the sky, perhaps full of stars, perhaps with soft clouds. You do not have to do anything. There is no immediate goal, no path to mark. You simply let the current carry you, trusting that even if you cannot see the end, the river knows where it goes. Inhale deeply as if absorbing the water's serenity. Exhale and release any tension still trying to row against something already in motion. By flowing with life, we stop spending energy on lost battles and save it to act when we truly can influence. We discover that calm does not come from controlling everything, but from trusting that, even without controlling it all, we can adapt. Tomorrow on waking, you may face situations that weren't in your plans. Remember then the feeling of this calm river and ask yourself, will I spend my energy fighting this, or will I use it to adapt and find the best way forward? Flowing with life is an act of trust. Trust in yourself, in your capacity to adapt and in the course of things. Tonight, as sleep arrives, let the current carry you gently to a harbor of deep rest, knowing that tomorrow the river will continue its course and you, in peace, will continue to navigate it. The night is an ally. For many, night is only the day's close, dark parentheses before light returns. Others see it as an obligation. I have to sleep to function tomorrow. But Stoicism invites us to look beyond the surface and discover that night is not a void, but fertile ground for the soul. A time when, though we may not perceive it, body and mind work to regenerate. Seneca wrote, "We need rest, though the soul is always active." Even the strongest spirit needs pauses, just as the warrior must sheath his sword or the musician must silence his instrument, so the next melody sounds clearer. Rest is not time lost. It is the wisest investment we can make in ourselves. Imagine the earth in midwinter. At first glance, it seems inactive. Bare fields, cold air, leafless trees, but beneath the surface, life continues. Roots strengthen, nutrients reorganize, the soil prepares to receive new seeds. In spring, everything blooms thanks to that period of apparent stillness. So it is with us. Sleep is our daily winter, a time when we withdraw so that everything within can be rearranged and reborn stronger. Visualize your body as a silent workshop. By day, the machines work without rest, producing, moving, resolving. But at night, invisible artisans, your cells, your mind, your emotions, go to work on a special shift. They repair small cracks, tidy the space, fine-tune every gear. There is no noise, no rush. Each process is carried out with precision, as if they knew the most important work is not what you do awake, but what they do while you sleep. The most beautiful part is that for this work to occur, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to direct, supervise, or demand results. You need only step aside, let go, and trust. The night in silence takes care of all. Changing the narrative is essential. It's not about telling yourself, I must sleep because I need it, as if it were another task on your list. It's about saying, I gift myself this rest. When you see it as an act of generosity toward yourself, pressure disappears and gratitude arises. Rest ceases to be an obligation and becomes a privilege. I invite you tonight to try a simple exercise. Close your eyes and repeat mentally, the night works in my favor, I can rest. As you do, imagine your breathing is the signal that begins that nocturnal shift of invisible artisans. With each inhale, you give them the tools they need. With each exhale, they take away the day's wear and fatigue. If you wake during the night, remember that even in those moments of wakefulness, the process continues. There is no interruption in the night's work. Your body and your mind know exactly what to do so long as you allow them. Rest without resistance. Tomorrow, when you open your eyes, you will do so with the strength accumulated through hours of silent repair. And if you keep this vision, each night will cease to be time that passes and become time that nourishes you. Because when you treat night as an ally, it stops being simply the end of the day and becomes the ground where everything you will live tomorrow takes root, accepting the inevitable. There are nights when the mind seems not to understand that the day has ended. Though the body lies down, the head keeps working, reviewing what happened, anticipating what will come, trying to find solutions to what right now cannot be changed. We cling mentally to problems already out of our reach, as if thinking about them more could control them. But Stoicism reminds us of a simple, liberating truth. Some things are in our hands and others are not. Clinging to what we cannot change is like trying to hold sand between our fingers. The tighter we squeeze, the faster it slips away. Epictetus expressed it clearly. Don't seek for things to happen as you want them. Want them to happen as they do happen. This is not resignation. It's a change of perspective. When we stop resisting the inevitable, we free energy we can use to adapt, to create, and to live more calmly. Imagine a traveler on a train that suddenly stops in the middle of the countryside because of an unexpected delay. He has two options: to spend the wait angry watching the clock, wishing the situation were different, or to lift his gaze, open the window, and let himself be surprised by the landscape. The delay remains, but his experience changes completely. What varies is not reality, but his response to it. Accepting the inevitable does not mean you approve of it or like it. It means you recognize that in this moment this is reality, and that your energy is better used finding the best way to live with it than trying to make it disappear by sheer will. Think of ocean waves. You can try to stop them with your hands, pushing the water back and exhausting yourself in the process. Or you can learn to swim in them, to float, to let their movement carry you to shore. In life, circumstances you cannot change are those waves. You do not have the power to halt them, but you can decide how you go through them. Tonight, before sleeping, I invite you to an exercise. Think of something that worried you today or a situation you've been trying unsuccessfully to control. It could be a work problem, a pending conversation, a decision that depends on another person, or something as broad as uncertainty about the future. Now visualize it as a leaf. Observe every detail, its color, its shape, its fine veins like tiny roads. That leaf represents your worry. Imagine placing it on the calm surface of a river or lake. At first, it floats very close to you. You feel the temptation to grab it, to keep it near. But instead, you choose to release it. You watch the water begin to move it gently away from you. You do not try to push it or hold it back. You simply observe it drifting, smaller and smaller, until it disappears from sight. The worry has not vanished from reality, but it has left your immediate mental space. And into that empty space, calm begins to enter. Accepting the inevitable is also an act of self-care. When you insist on fighting what you cannot change, you don't just exhaust your mind, you also rob your body of the chance to recover during the night. Tomorrow, with a renewed mind and body, you may find solutions that now, in exhaustion, you cannot even see. The Stoics understood that serenity does not arise from everything going our way, but from adapting to what is. That's why, at day's end, they practiced acceptance. Marcus Aurelius, for example, wrote his meditations at night, not to solve problems, but to make peace with what had happened and prepare himself to rest. Next time you feel a worry trying to lie with you in bed, remember, it is not your enemy, but it is not your master either. You can set it aside, knowing that if it needs your attention, tomorrow you will return to it with more clarity and strength. Repeat mentally as you inhale, I accept what is, and as you exhale, I release what I do not control. Feel each breath lighten you, your shoulders easing, the crease between your brows softening. Accepting the inevitable is a gift you give yourself each night, a gift that says, I trust that whatever happens, I will have the capacity to face it, but now I choose to rest. And so, with a lighter mind, you can let yourself be carried toward deep sleep, knowing that by letting go, you have lost nothing and gained the freedom to rest in peace, the inner refuge. At some moment today, you may have felt the world was too noisy, crossed voices in an argument, the incessant ping of notifications, an endless to-do list, or simply the silent pressure of accumulating worries. When all that happens, it seems there is nowhere to hide. But that is only an illusion. There is a place, one that does not depend on walls or locks, that is not subject to weather or others' judgments, a place where wind does not enter, where voices fade, where light is soft and air feels clean. That place is within you, and it has always been there. Marcus Aurelius called it withdrawing into your own soul. Amid real battles, complex political decisions, illness and loss, the Stoic emperor remembered he could close his eyes and find inside himself a space where nothing external held power. A space that needed no permission to be visited. Think of your inner refuge as a cabin in the woods. Outside, perhaps the wind blows hard, branches shake, rain drums on the roof. But inside, a fire burns with steady light, warmth remains, and the silence is kind. There, the walls are built from your values, the roof from your serenity, and the floor from your clear conscience. This refuge is not an escape from the world. It is a place to regain strength, to remember who you are and what truly matters. A place where outside noise does not define your inner state. Now, if you wish, let's take a small journey to that space and close your eyes gently and begin to breathe slowly. Feel air enter through your nose, travel through chest and abdomen, and leave in a long exhale. With each exhale, imagine you shed a layer of noise and tension. Ahead of you, visualize a path, It could be a stone walkway, a dirt trail carpeted with dry leaves, or a corridor lit by warm light. It doesn't matter how it looks. What matters is that it leads to your refuge. Begin to walk it, sensing how each step carries you away from the world's clamor and toward a more serene place. Around you, the landscape grows quieter. Sounds soften, light turns more welcoming, and you feel an increasing peace. The path curves gently, and in the distance you see the cabin. Smoke rises straight from its chimney, a sign that inside everything is calm. You push the door and enter. Inside there's a comfortable chair, perhaps a soft blanket, maybe a table with a lit candle. There are no clocks hurrying you, no voices interrupting you. Only silence and warmth. Sit down. Stay there, feeling this place envelop you with the certainty that, whatever happens outside, you are safe here. Hurry cannot enter here. Neither can judgment nor others' expectations. This space answers only to you, and it is always ready to receive you. As you breathe in this inner refuge, remember you do not need the world to be in order to feel calm. Calm can be born here in this very instant without anything external changing. That is the true freedom the Stoics defended, having a place within you that cannot be conquered by adversity. Tomorrow when you wake, external circumstances may be the same. But what changes is that now you know you can always return to this refuge. In the middle of a tense meeting, a crowded street, or a moment of uncertainty, it will be enough to close your eyes for an instant and remember the path that leads here. Life is sometimes like a storm at sea. We cannot always avoid the waves, but we can anchor our boat in a safe harbor. Your inner refuge is that harbor. The more you visit it, the sturdier and more accessible it becomes. Tonight, before sleep, keep this image. Remember it as a key you carry with you. Each time you use it, each time you enter that cabin, you train your mind to return to calm more quickly and with less effort. Repeat mentally. I have a place I can always return to. Feel those words become true in your body. When you open your eyes tomorrow, the refuge will still be there waiting, like a lighthouse that never goes out. Because although the world changes, this inner space is yours and nothing and no one can take it from you. The lightness of calm. Calm. Many think it is simply the absence of noise, the pause in the middle of a conversation, the silence after an agitated moment. But calm is much more. It is an active living state, not limited to passivity. It is the conscious choice to let go, to stop clinging, to let what weighs you down fall away little by little. Picture it like a lake that has been churned for hours. Waves have battered the shore, water has mixed with sand, everything looks murky and disordered. Suddenly, the wind stops. The lake does not calm instantly. It needs time for the particles to settle, for the water to become clear again. Our mind works the same way. It needs stillness so thoughts can find their place. Sometimes we believe we must resolve everything before we can feel calm, as if it were a prize awarded after finishing every task and putting out every fire. But Stoicism reminds us that calm is not a consequence. It is a prior choice. You do not need everything to be in order to find it. In fact, in the midst of chaos, it is most valuable. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly. If something external troubles you, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your judgment about it. This means calm is born from your interpretation, not your circumstances. What upsets you is not what happens, but the meaning you give it. And if that meaning can change, your inner state can change as well. Think of a jar filled with muddy water. If you shake it, the water becomes more opaque, the particles disperse, but if you set it down and leave it alone, time does its work and the water clears by itself. Calm is setting down the jar. It is renouncing the impulse to keep stirring your mind's waters. Or imagine a balloon. When you hold it pressed to the ground, you feel tension in the string. There's constant strain. But if you let go, the balloon rises gently away from the weight holding it down. So it is with your calm. When you decide to release the pressure, your mind lifts, light, free. Now let's practice together. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply through your nose, feeling fresh air fill your lungs. Hold that breath briefly as if you were catching a ray of light inside. Now exhale slowly through your mouth, letting any accumulated tension leave with the air. As you exhale, imagine your body growing lighter. Perhaps start with your shoulders sinking a little, freeing themselves from the invisible weight they have carried all day. Feel your neck soften, your jaw unclench. Even your hands and feet seem less tense, as if remembering there is nothing to hold tonight. Inhale again, filling your abdomen, and this time think of a word that represents calm for you. It might be lightness, peace, silence, or any word that resonates. Hold that word in your mind as you retain the air. And as you exhale, let that feeling expand from the center of your chest to every corner of your body. In this moment, there is nothing to do, nothing to decide, nothing to resolve. It is just you and this breath. This is your space, your conscious choice not to stir the water, to release the balloon's string and let it rise. Remember something important. Calm does not mean ignoring your problems. It means choosing to face them from a place of clarity without letting them pull you into the whirlpool. The lightness of calm is not escape, it is preparation. Like the archer who does not shoot while trembling. He waits until his hands are steady and his mind is focused. Tonight, calm is your key, an invisible key that opens the door to restorative rest. Crossing that threshold, you enter a place where worries remain outside, where every muscle yields to the softness of sleep. As you listen to these words, imagine lying on a field of soft grass. The sky above is deep and star-studded. There is no wind, no haste, no one waiting for you to act, only you and the night sharing a moment of quiet complicity. Calm settles like dew on leaves, effortless, soundless. It wraps you slowly until no corner of your being remains untouched. And when calm covers you completely, you discover that the weight you carried is no longer there. Not because it vanished from the world, but because you set it down, at least for tonight. Repeat mentally as you breathe. I release what weighs me down. I embrace calm. Each time you say it, feel something inside you grow lighter. The lightness of calm is a gift you give yourself. It needs no permission, no external conditions. It only needs you to choose it, here and now. And tonight you have chosen it, the value of rest. Rest. Many take it lightly, as if it were a luxury granted only when they have done enough. But Stoicism, with its clear, practical view of life, reminds us that rest is not a whim or a waste of time. It is a necessity, a duty to oneself, a deep form of respect for body and mind. Think of an experienced gardener. He knows the soil cannot produce endlessly without stopping. After a season of sowing and harvest, he lets it lie fallow. He does not abandon it. He does not neglect it. He simply gives it the time it needs to regain nutrients and strengthen in silence. When the moment comes, that rested soil is ready to yield again. So are we. We are not machines. We are part of nature. Our performance, mental clarity, and emotional strength depend on those moments of pause. Seneca said it with simplicity and precision. Necessary rest is not idleness. It is not laziness. It is not weakness. It is not wasting time. Rest is as much a part of the path as action. A warrior who never lowers his sword becomes weak. A traveler who never stops to drink will sooner or later collapse. Now imagine an oil lamp. Its light illuminates the room, warms the space, keeps company in the dark. But if you never turn it off, if you never give it moments of rest, the oil will run out early and the wick will burn down. Turning the lamp off for a time is not ceasing to illuminate. It is ensuring it will still shine when you need it. You are that lamp. Often we try to force our body and mind to go on when they have given all they have. We do it out of commitment, pressure, fear of falling behind. But what sense is there in continuing to walk if each step weakens us more? Rest is not stopping the journey. It is what allows us to continue it with energy and direction. Consider this: nature itself rests. Day turns into night, seasons change, tides rise and fall. Even the heart, which beats without pause, has a brief rest between beats, an instant that allows it to keep beating for a lifetime. Let's do a simple yet powerful exercise. Close your eyes gently. Inhale through your nose, counting to 4. Feel the fresh air fill your lungs. Hold that air for a moment, then exhale slowly through your mouth, counting to 6 like a long, deep sigh. Do it again. Inhale, counting to 4, and exhale, counting to 6. Notice how, with each exhale, your body loosens a bit more. Shoulders fall, jaw softens, forehead relaxes. With each breathing cycle, you're sending your mind a message. It is safe to rest. I do not need to be on guard now. Rest is also an act of trust. Trust that the world will keep turning while you close your eyes for a few hours. Trust that what you did today was enough. Trust that what remains will be there tomorrow for you to handle with greater clarity. Sometimes we think that to be strong, we must always be in action. But true strength includes knowing when to stop. Rest is the invisible seed that feeds future action. Without it, our decisions grow clumsier, our emotions more fragile, our bodies more vulnerable. Marcus Aurelius, who bore the weight of ruling an empire, understood this well. In his meditations, he often spoke about keeping a tranquil mind and a body prepared to fulfill duty. And he knew this was only possible if he cared for himself, granting moments to breathe, reflect, and sleep. Tonight, see your rest as an investment. Every minute you devote to relaxing and sleeping deeply is like depositing energy into an account that tomorrow will let you act with more effectiveness, serenity, and precision. Imagine you are in a silent room. The light is soft. The temperature is perfect. Outside, all is calm. And you, lying down, let yourself release the day's weight. You do not have to hold anything now. You do not have to think about what will come. This is your time. Your mind and body need it, and you grant it not as permission but as a right. Repeat mentally as you breathe, resting is moving forward. Because it's true, tonight's rest is the fuel for tomorrow. If you ever feel guilty for stopping, remember that even the mightiest rivers pause in still pools before continuing their course. In those pools, water clears, brightens, strengthens for the next stretch. Tonight, you do not merely sleep, you restore, you recharge, you give your mind the silence it needs to organize itself. You give your body time to repair each cell, each muscle, and you give your spirit the space to find peace. The value of rest lies in what it returns to you. More clarity, more energy, more balance. So give yourself to it, knowing it is one of the wisest decisions you can make. Serenity in every breath. Breathing is so natural that we rarely think about it. It comes and goes without reminders. Yet when we bring it into awareness, it becomes one of the most powerful tools to calm the mind and return to the present. The Stoics did not speak directly of breathing techniques as we practice them today, but they did speak of inner control, of the ability to keep the mind ordered even when the world around seemed to fall apart. Conscious breathing is perhaps the most direct path to that. Imagine a sailor navigating turbulent waters. Waves strike the hull, wind blows hard, clouds cover the sky. Still, he keeps his eyes fixed on a guiding star, no matter the sea's sway or the wind's force. As long as that star is there, he knows where to go. Your breath is that star. In the midst of scattered thoughts, worries that creep in just as you try to sleep, emotions still resonating from the day, breathing is your fixed point. It is always with you. It can always bring you back to center. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Perfect tranquility is the order of the mind." That order is no sudden miracle. It is a habit cultivated over time. Conscious breathing is like watering that habit every night so it grows strong and deep. Picture this. Every time you inhale, a gentle wave comes toward the shore. There is no rush, no violence, only a natural, steady movement. Each time you exhale, that wave recedes, carrying away small bits of restlessness left on the sand. Let's practice together. Inhale through your nose, counting to 4, as if a fresh, clean light were entering your whole body. Hold that air briefly, feeling how it fills you, how it illuminates even your tensest corners. Exhale slowly through your mouth, counting to 6, imagining that each worry, each tension, each unnecessary thought dissolves and drifts away like the sea carrying it far off. Repeat this cycle several times. Do not force it. Let it be a natural rhythm like the tide. The beauty of this exercise is that you don't have to battle your thoughts. If one arrives, simply acknowledge it and return to the breath. If another comes, do the same. Let it pass and come back to the rhythm of inhaling and exhaling. It's as if your breath were a gentle magnet that always brings you home to the present. In life, there are moments when we have no control over circumstances. But always, even in the midst of chaos, we have control over one thing: our next inhale and our next exhale. In that simple act, we can find peace. Think how often during the day your mind scatters, speeds up, fills with unnecessary thoughts. Each time you take a conscious breath, you interrupt that cycle. You give your mind a small break, a literal and figurative breath. Now visualize something deeper. Each inhalation is like watering an inner garden. With each breath in, the flowers of calm are hydrated, strengthened, grown. With each breath out, the weeds of anxiety are gently pulled up, effort-free. Breathing is that invisible gardener caring for you while you simply allow it. And remember, it doesn't matter if tonight your mind is agitated, if concentration is hard, if calm feels distant. Breathing is always there, patient, ready to accompany your return. It demands nothing. It judges nothing. It only invites you to feel it. When you close your eyes tonight, you can use this tool as many times as you wish. If you wake in the night and thoughts try to invade, return to your star, to your wave, to your breath. Because each conscious breath reminds you that you need not go anywhere else to find serenity. You already carry it within. It is in your chest, in that gentle, constant movement that, if you listen, can lull you into the deepest sleep. And as you breathe, say silently, "On this inhale, I receive calm. On this exhale, I release unrest." Do it once more now, and feel your whole body understand the message. It's time to rest. The silence that nourishes. There is a kind of silence that unsettles, the kind we feel when we await an answer that doesn't arrive, or when something we feared appears in the absence of noise. But there is another kind of silence, one that is not emptiness but fullness. It is the silence that nourishes. Far from being a hollow void, it is a fertile space where ideas settle, emotions soften, and the mind finds clarity. Night gives us this silence generously. When day fades, traffic calms, voices quiet, and lights dim, a different space appears. It is as if the world steps aside to leave us with ourselves. The Stoics knew how to take advantage of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote in moments of nighttime stillness, not as a literary exercise but as a conversation with himself. Silence, rightly understood, is not the absence of sound, but the absence of unnecessary noise. It is the moment when the essential can be heard. Think of a painter before a blank canvas. Before the first brushstroke touches the fabric, there is an instant in which the artist contemplates the empty surface. It is not inactivity, but observation and openness. In that calm, possibilities take shape. Night's silence is the same. It is the canvas on which we sketch the thoughts we choose to keep and those we choose to leave before sleeping. Epictetus said, "It is impossible to learn what one thinks one already knows." Silence reminds us there is always something to hear, even within ourselves. If we are full of noise, we leave no room to receive anything new. Night offers us that space, but we must accept it. Imagine a quiet lake in the forest. By day, with wind and birds, the surface moves and reflects little. At night, when the air calms and stars begin to shine, the lake becomes a perfect mirror reflecting the moon. That lake is you when you let your mind rest. You don't need absolute outer quiet to find that reflection. What you need is to let your inner agitation settle. I suggest a simple exercise. Close your eyes and for a few seconds listen to the sounds around you. Do not try to change them. Do not judge them as pleasant or annoying. Just observe. You may hear the distant murmur of a street, the soft hum of an appliance, or perhaps the silence is almost complete. Between those sounds, there are empty spaces. Feel those spaces as small islands of calm that slowly expand. This exercise does not seek to eliminate noises, but to help you discover that even among them there is silence. That silence is a balm. It asks nothing of you, asks you not to think or to solve anything. It simply holds you. In daily life, we are so used to noise that we carry it inside, even when all outside is calm. We think of our to-do list, past conversations, what could happen tomorrow. The silence that nourishes is the opposite. It is opening a space in the mind with no demands, and in that space what matters presents itself clearly. Deep rest doesn't come only from body posture or closed eyes. It arrives when the mind feels safe to let go. Night silence is that safety signal. It is as if the night whispered, "You can stop running now. I will take care of things." By practicing this approach to silence each night, we begin to recognize it as an ally. We don't fear it or fill it with distractions. We inhabit it. And when we do, our breathing softens, our muscles loosen, and the mind stops searching. Right now, while you are listening, allow silence to become part of you, not as something that happens outside, but as an internal state. Imagine your interior as that night lake, and that each thought trying to agitate it dissolves like a drop merging in without trace. Night is generous with this gift, but it is up to you to accept it. You don't have to seek it or force it. It is here right now. The more you feel it, the easier it is for sleep to arrive as a natural continuation of this quiet. The silence that nourishes is the antechamber of deep rest. It prepares you not only to sleep, but to wake with a clearer mind and a lighter heart. Just as the earth needs fallow time to regenerate, you need these spaces of absolute calm to bloom tomorrow. Let this night's silence work in your favor. Let it hold you, wrap you, lighten you. Because in this silence, your rest finds its root, surrendering to sleep. Sleep is not a battle to be won, nor a goal to be reached by force of will. Sleep is like the tide. It arrives when time and conditions are right. The real key to better sleep is not to try desperately, but to create the inner and outer space for it to appear naturally. Think of a cat finding a sunny corner. It doesn't run or try to force rest. It simply settles, adjusts its posture, breathes slowly, and little by little its eyelids lower. There is no rush, no struggle, only surrender, acceptance, letting go. The cat trusts rest will come, because that is the nature of things. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us, accept with serenity what life brings. In the context of sleep, accepting means releasing the pressure of having to sleep and allowing body and mind to find that state by themselves. Sleeping is an act of trust, trusting that your body knows how, that the night has its rhythm, that rest is part of the natural order. Now imagine a leaf floating on a river. At first it may wobble, turn, adjust on the surface. With time, the current cradles it, carries it effortlessly, transports it gently toward a destination it doesn't need to know. The leaf does not fight the current nor try to go faster or slower. It simply lets itself be carried. That is surrendering to sleep, letting the night's river carry you without resistance. In this moment, you don't need to resolve anything. You don't need to prepare for anything. The day is over, and any matter still open can wait. Now the only thing that matters is allowing yourself to be here, lying down, listening, breathing. Feel your body's contact with the surface that supports you. Notice how the mattress receives every curve, every weight, as if you were slowly sinking into a soft clue. Bring your attention to your feet. Imagine they are melting like wax warmed by the sun. The sensation of softness and warmth moves slowly up your legs, relaxing every muscle. Continue with your hips, your back, your abdomen. Let them release any tension accumulated during the day. Your chest softens, your shoulders drop a bit more. Your jaw unclenches, even your tongue rests in your mouth. Your forehead smooths out, and with each exhale, feel your body surrendering a little more to the surface, as if gravity were a warm embrace wrapping you. Each breath is a message to your nervous system. It is safe to relax, it is safe to let go. In Stoicism, surrender is not weakness. It is recognizing reality as it is and aligning yourself with it. Tonight, surrender means letting sleep come when it will, without demanding, without conditions. It means being patient and gentle with yourself and your process. If a thought appears, a picture from the day, a worry about tomorrow, watch it as you would a cloud crossing a summer sky. Do not try to push it or hold it. Simply let it pass. Soon the sky will be clear again. Remember, your body knows how to sleep. You do not have to do anything special to make it happen. In fact, the less you try to control it, the easier it will be. Like the leaf on the river, simply allow the night's current to carry you. Take one more deep breath. Feel air enter fresh and renewing. And leave warm, taking with it the last remnants of tension. With each exhale, you draw closer to the shore where sleep awaits you. In a few moments, you will no longer need to follow these words. Your mind will slide gently into a place without thoughts, without effort, without time. There, all is calm, and deep rest wraps you like an invisible blanket. Tonight, there is no struggle, there is no duty, there is only surrender. And in that surrender, you will discover sleep was always waiting for you, patient like a faithful friend who knows when it is time to arrive. The rest you are gifting your body and mind tonight is much more than a parenthesis. It is an act of profound care, a silent investment in the person you will be tomorrow. Sleeping well is not merely closing your eyes, it is sowing the seed of a day that is clearer, calmer, more truly yours. Imagine you stand in a forest at dawn. It has rained through the night, a soft, steady rain that has washed every leaf, every stone, every corner of the ground. The air is fresh and smells of damp earth and renewed life. The first rays of sun slip through the branches, lighting droplets that hang from leaves like tiny diamonds. Everything seems newly made. This is how I want your awakening to feel tomorrow. like a forest after rain, clean, fresh, ready to bloom. Seneca said, "Each new day is a new life." When you think about it, it's true. Each sunrise offers the chance to begin again, to leave behind what does not serve and to choose again how you want to live. Tonight is the bridge to that new opportunity. Visualize a gentle sunrise, one that doesn't rush the light, that lets clarity arrive little by little. First, the horizon takes on warm tones, oranges, golds, pinks. Then the light spreads like a whisper, lighting shadows without violence. Feel how that light not only fills the landscape, but also your inner world. Each ray is a reminder that the new day brings infinite possibilities. Now imagine that it's already tomorrow. You open your eyes slowly and notice your body feels light, with no leftover tension. Your breath flows naturally. There is an inner quiet that accompanies you even as the sounds of a new day begin to stir around you. You sense you do not need to run, that there is no rush, because inside you carry a calm that depends on nothing external. Think about how you want that day to be. Perhaps calmer, more focused, more joyful. This is not about planning, but about intention. If calm is your intention, let it settle now. If gratitude is your intention, sow that seed before sleep. If strength is what you seek, picture yourself acting tomorrow with serenity and firmness. Tonight's rest is the fertilizer that makes that state possible. Just as a tree needs night to keep growing unseen, you need these hours to rebuild, repair, recharge. Trust that while you sleep, every cell in your body and every corner of your mind works in silence to return you to your best self. Now take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose, feel the fresh air fill your lungs, and exhale through your mouth as if releasing any last tension that might follow you into sleep. Repeat this 2 more times, each slower, each softer. Visualize drifting off with an inner smile, with the certainty that this rest is enough, that you are enough, and that tomorrow you will open your eyes with a clear mind and a light heart. Remember that the calm you cultivate now does not remain in the night. It will accompany you through the day to come, guiding your decisions, filtering your thoughts, softening your way of speaking and acting. This is not the end of rest, it is the beginning of a new cycle of clarity and energy. Dawn waits for you, but it is in no hurry. You can surrender to sleep, certain that when you open your eyes, the world will still be there, but you will see it with renewed eyes. Now let the images soften and blur. Let the forest, the rain, and the sunrise blend into your dreams. And as you drift away from these words, remember, each new day is a new life, and tonight is the first chapter of the one you will live tomorrow. Sleep in peace, your soul already knows the way.